Right, we can now be upstanding, ladies and gentlemen. This is a real one, eh? Let us receive with a round of applause the Vice President of Tanzania, Dr. Philip Mpango, and His Excellency Haile Mariam Desalegn, the Chair, AGRF Partners Group, and former Prime Minister of Ethiopia. We've had good lunch. We can give them a better round of applause, right? Thank you. Thank you. You may be seated now. Right. It is now exactly 53 minutes after the top of the hour, that is 2 p.m. And we are coming to you live from this nerve center of the Africa Green Revolution Forum that is actually taking place right here in the Kigali Convention Center in the beautiful country of Rwanda. We cannot underestimate the fact that there is some level of uniqueness in us meeting in person finally, right? I'm sure we've missed seeing each other physically in person. I know of the troubles we've had for virtual meetings. Can you see me? Turn off your light, put on some more light, you know? And that is now past us in this particular case, and we can't be glad to be here today. But even before the world and Africa is actually in particular getting out of this COVID-19 pandemic, there is definitely a lot that is happening in terms of the challenge of the ongoing Russia-Ukraine war. Despite the fact that this particular war's epicenter is miles away, its impact on farmers can be felt right here and right now and across the many villages that we all come from. I want to introduce myself formally. My name is Eugene Anangwe, and I work with CNBC Africa. I'm a business journalist and a mentor. Today's event is very important, and we all understand that farmers are at the heart of Africa's economic growth and agricultural transformation. It is also estimated that about 70% of Africa's population are employed in this sector. Now, later on, we'll be able to have a panel discussion that is lined up to be able to help us understand and listen from the farmers as they speak and engage their leaders at this particular forum. But to help us or kick us off, I'd like to welcome on stage Mr. Kolyang Palebe, who's the President, Pan-African Farmers Organization, to share with us his welcome and framing remarks. Let's give him a round of applause as he comes on set.
Merci beaucoup. Excellences, éminents conférenciers et panélistes, distingués invités, et distingués participants, mesdames et messieurs, avant tout propos, je voudrais saisir cette occasion pour rendre hommage au président de la République du Rwanda, pour son leadership pour le monde rural. Le monde rural l'apprécie beaucoup dans son approche, dans sa démarche et sa façon de contribuer au développement de l'agriculture en Afrique. Donc, nous le félicitons beaucoup pour ce qu'il est en train de faire. Je voudrais qu'on applaudisse quand même pour lui. Excellences, mesdames et messieurs, j'ai le plaisir de vous accueillir toutes et tous, parce qu'il s'agit de notre panel de petits producteurs. Je suis très content que des éminentes personnalités viennent nous écouter et s'intéressent à nous. Ce forum paysan est organisé donc dans le cadre de AGRF 2022 Le thème, c'est de croître, nourrir, récompenser des actions audacieuses pour les systèmes alimentaires résilients. Et le thème de la première journée, c'est de faire progresser l'action des systèmes alimentaires face à la crise. Deux thèmes très appréciés et appropriés aux développements régionaux et mondiaux actuels dans le secteur agricole et en particulier dans le sous-secteur de la production alimentaire. Le Forum des paysans est un événement spécial qui offre une plateforme, un cadre aux paysans africains pour dialoguer avec les dirigeants régionaux et mondiaux afin d'échanger les points de vue sur les défis actuels auxquels sont confrontés les paysans et sur les éventuelles solutions à envisager avec le soutien, bien entendu, des dirigeants africains et mondiaux afin de garantir un système alimentaire durable en Afrique. C'est aussi l'occasion de faire entendre la voix des paysans, des petits producteurs et des producteurs africains tout court et d'attirer l'attention des dirigeants sur leurs difficultés et de solliciter leur soutien dans la promotion d'une sécurité alimentaire et nutritionnelle durable sur le continent. Mesdames et messieurs, distingués invités, les paysans africains sont confrontés à plusieurs défis causés par les chocs mondiaux et régionaux dont les impacts se font fortement ressentir sur le quotidien du paysan africain. Il s'agit notamment des effets du Covid-19, le conflit russo-ukrainien, l'infestation acridienne, ainsi que les perturbations liées au changement climatique. Par conséquent, l'attention se tourne de plus en plus vers une nécessité d'obtenir des résultats efficaces au niveau de la transformation de l'agriculture afin d'atteindre les objectifs de l'agenda régionaux et mondial relatifs à la sécurité alimentaire durable. Une attention qui exige des initiatives stratégiques innovantes à même d'opérer la transformation nécessaire des systèmes agricoles africains. La transformation des systèmes agricoles implique également les processus et les infrastructures nécessaires à l'alimentation de la population croissante, tels que les stockages, la transformation des produits agricoles, l'emballage, le transport, la commercialisation, la distribution et aussi le système de la consommation, sans oublier que les paysans jouent un rôle essentiel au niveau de cette transformation. Aujourd'hui, l'urgence est que les gouvernements mettent rapidement les engrais à la disposition des paysans à des prix abordables pour prévenir une crise alimentaire imminente sur le continent. En effet, l'approvisionnement en engrais a récemment été limité par la guerre russo-ukrainienne qui a révélé la forte dépendance de l'Afrique vis-à-vis des importations d'engrais. Mais pas seulement les paysans africains qui sont également confrontés à cette situation, mais aussi les autres pays sont aussi menacés. Nous pensons aussi qu'il y a le changement climatique qui est devenu une menace pour les pratiques agricoles résilientes et durables sur le continent. Aussi, la résilience, la biodiversité, l'amélioration de la productivité et les stratégies qui traitent de la fertilité des sols et de l'efficacité de l'utilisation de l'eau doivent être adaptée aux conditions locales et aux prévisions solides des principales contraintes du changement climatique susceptibles d'affecter l'agriculture paysanne. Et dans ce processus, le renforcement des capacités et le soutien des organisations paysannes et de leurs membres sont essentiels dans ce processus, sachant que l'agriculture en Afrique est essentiellement une agriculture familiale avec des petits exploitants qui rencontrent des difficultés d'accès aux ressources financières, aux investissements, aux infrastructures et à l'information. Pour ce faire, la PAFO a voulu faire quelques propositions, quelques recommandations pour permettre aux participants de mieux orienter le débat. Il s'agit d'impliquer les paysans, les producteurs d'une manière générale, dans la prise de décisions qui les concernent, dans l'élaboration des politiques et des programmes et projets dont ils sont bénéficiaires. Et la PAF pense également qu'il faut créer un fonds africain de développement de l'agriculture pour faciliter l'accès au financement des agriculteurs pour les intrants et les semences, engrais et mécanisation surtout. Nous pensons aussi qu'il faut faciliter l'adaptation au changement climatique dans les systèmes alimentaires en mettant l'accent surtout sur la pêche, la mécanisation, la nutrition, le genre, la recherche et le développement, les énergies renouvelables et l'efficacité également, l'accès à l'eau pour le développement des systèmes de micro-irrigation, le développement des systèmes d'alerte précoce pour diffuser des données et conditions météorologiques pour réduire les risques associés au changement climatique sur le système agricole. Nous pensons qu'il faut aussi renforcer les organisations d'agriculteurs du secteur privé et des sociétés civiles qui sont engagées dans le secteur agricole pour assurer que le partenariat soit solide et réactif au cadre politique au niveau national, continental et mondial. Nous pensons aussi qu'il faut l'appui international aux organisations paysannes et à leurs membres par l'accès au marché, au financement, à l'innovation technique pour améliorer le système agricole. Et une autre proposition qui est très importante pour nous, la PAF souhaite, sollicite une place dans les mécanismes de prise de décision concernant le secteur agricole dans les réunions des chefs d'État africains. La PAF, en tant que porte-parole de plus de 80 millions de paysans africains répartis dans environ 50 pays et opérant par l'intermédiaire de ces 5 réseaux régionaux, il s'agit de EAF, qui est en Afrique de l'Est ici, basée au Kenya, et la plateforme régionale des organisations paysannes de l'Afrique centrale, qui est basée à Yaoundé, qui regroupe les pays de l'Afrique centrale, le réseau des organisations paysannes et des producteurs de l'Afrique de l'Ouest, qui est l'Europa, basé en Afrique de l'Ouest, la Confédération des syndicats agricoles d'Afrique australe, et le SACAO, qui est basé en Afrique du Sud, l'Union maghrébine et nord-africain des agriculteurs, basée en Tunisie. Cette organisation regroupe l'ensemble des pays du Maghreb. La PAFO est bien placée pour faire part des préoccupations de ses membres aux dirigeants régionaux et mondiaux afin de solliciter leur soutien dans son rôle de plaidoyer et pour la recherche des solutions durables aux défis auxquels sont confrontés les paysans aux fins d'assurer la sécurité alimentaire et nutritionnelle de la population africaine. Excellences, Mesdames et Messieurs, imminentes conférenciers, la PAFO et ses membres sont extrêmement reconnaissants à AGRA et à AGRF d'avoir organisé cet événement spécial et d'avoir réuni des conférenciers et des panélistes de haut niveau qui, je n'en doute pas, répondront aux préoccupations des organisations paysannes et de leurs membres. Je suis convaincu que les discussions d'aujourd'hui feront émerger des idées innovantes et de nouvelles recommandations politiques qui nous permettront de mettre en œuvre des actions audacieuses pour le système alimentaire résilient face aux défis actuels des systèmes alimentaires mondiaux et régionaux. Une fois de plus, je vous souhaite à tous chaleureuse bienvenue au Forum des agriculteurs de cette année et je vous souhaite des délibérations fructueuses au cours de ce dialogue et du reste du programme AGRF et que vous passerez un agréable séjour en Uganda. Merci pour votre aimable attention.
I know we can give the President another round of applause. Merci beaucoup. Thank you very much. We're just setting the stage for this special event. And to further do that, it is now my honor to actually bring on a stage and to welcome His Excellency, the Vice President of Tanzania, Dr. Philip Mpango, to give his keynote address. Let's give him a round of applause as he comes to give his keynote address. Thank you.
Your Excellency, Haile Mariam Desalegn, the Chair of AGRF Partners Group and former Prime Minister of Ethiopia, Mr. Kolyang Pelebele, the President of the Pan-African Farmers Organization, Excellencies, Heads of Regional and Farmers Organizations, distinguished members of the discussion panel, dear farmers, ladies and gentlemen, at the outset, I wish to convey my heartfelt appreciation to the AGRA and the government of Rwanda for organizing this year's event, which provides us with an opportunity to have a one-on-one conversation with African farmers. I also wish to commend the farmers who are physically and virtually here and those represented from all over the continent for their hard work that feeds the continent despite facing numerous challenges. Please also accept fraternal greetings from Her Excellency Samia Suluhu Hassan, the President of the United Republic of Tanzania, who wished to be here but is unable to attend due to a national exigency. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, Tanzania is among few countries in Africa that have attained self-sufficiency in food for over 2 decades continuously. The agriculture sector, which has been growing at around 5% per annum, contributes about a quarter of GDP, 65% of domestic industrial raw materials, and employs over 2/3 of the country's labor force. And Tanzania, through what we call as biashara, kilimo biashara, Agenda 1030, which aims at transforming agriculture into a business, is committed to achieving agricultural sector growth of 10% per annum by 2030. In order to achieve this target, several catalytic interventions have been devised, including relying public and private sectors to invest in agriculture and increase budgetary allocations. The government has also leveraged on digital technology for planning, monitoring, and evaluation, extension services, marketing, as well as payment systems and business support services. Tanzania also promotes the adoption of climate change smart technologies in agriculture, including regenerative production systems, while promoting judicious use of off-farm inputs. Distinguished participants, agriculture, which is the mother industry, has a lot of opportunities and challenges, right from the production stage to the market. And the main opportunities include jobs for Africa's growing youth population, especially high-value agricultural products, value addition and agribusiness, as well as research and development. The critical challenges include low production and productivity due to a number of factors such as policies that are not smart, deteriorating soil health, climate change, and limited access to finance, affordable technologies, and markets. It is therefore imperative to find solutions to these challenges in order to enable farmers to excel. And as part of our endeavor to address agricultural challenges in Tanzania, we have taken the following key interventions. First, we have focused on revitalization of agricultural extension services delivery. And this is undertaken through provision of public and private extension services, training and retooling of extension staff, and promoting farmer-to-farmer learning. And Yara and Seedco Limited are good examples of such private institutions. But aside from this, we have also increased investment in fertilizer production, plus, of course, investment in small and medium-sized irrigation schemes. Second, by using own resources, local government authorities construct small-scale dams for livestock, as well as small-scale irrigation programs. Warehouses and cold rooms are built and standardized by the central government or private sector to strengthen collective market infrastructure. And this is common for crops such as rice and avocado. Thirdly, the government has launched a youth program known as Building a Better Tomorrow, which entails, among others, investment in organized block farms, provision of input subsidies, startup capital, and facilitation of value addition. And one of the successful cases is the Youth Agribusiness Incubation Center, which is called the Sokoine University Graduate Entrepreneur Cooperative. Fourth, we have scaled up agriculture financing by recapitalizing the Tanzania Agricultural Development Bank and establishment of special windows in commercial banks which offer credit to farmers at single-digit interest rate. And the government is encouraging the banks and other financial institutions to expand financial outreach to small-scale farmers, including provision of education on project management and loan repayment. Fifth has been the promotion of agro-processing for value addition and increased income and shelf life. Small and medium-scale manufacturers, such as the Small Industries Development Organization, Kamatech, the Dar es Salaam Institute of Technology, and others, are supported or facilitated to develop low-cost agro-processing machines. And six, through regional integration bodies, and particularly the East African Community and SADC, the government continues to ease supply chains by smoothening connectivity and remove of tariff and non-tariff barriers and export restrictions, as well as enhancing information sharing among partner states. And seventh has been on implementation of a blueprint for tax and regulatory reforms to improve the business environment in all sectors, including agriculture. And this document was developed by the government in partnership with the private sector. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, in order to fast-track food systems transformation, we suggest the following items or actions. First, taking into account Africa's large and fast-growing youth and women populations, governments should put in place measures that will allow more access to finance for women-led agriculture and agribusiness initiatives and rural youth enterprises. Secondly, to encourage government and private sector leaders to venture into agriculture themselves so as to become model farmers and acquire hands-on experience and also inform their policy-making functions. Thirdly, to prioritize funding of research and development, as well as extension services. And the funding should focus on human resource development, availing working tools, exploring new crops, and promoting locally adaptive technologies. Fourth is to put in place mechanisms to allow participation of farmer organizations and other non-governmental organizations in policy formulation and implementation. Fifth is to enforce the use of standard weights and measures, as well as a ban on exploitative forward market practices so as to protect our farmers. And success stories in my own country, Tanzania, on the use of weight standards for meat, rice, and beans, I think need to be embraced in marketing other agro-produce. Sixth is to manage waste generated from the use of agricultural inputs. And in Tanzania, we are rolling out the use of what we call as the Kizimba model, which entails waste collection centers in rural areas and commercial centers for waste disposal before being destroyed in the certified disposal areas. And finally, we think we need to guide sustainable investments in agriculture, and Tanzania has embarked on the use of inclusive green growth tools, a framework for capacity building, measuring the levels of compliance for small, medium, and large producers, processors, and agribusinesses. And in developing the tools, Tanzania has collaborated with local NGOs and international organizations such as the World Wildlife Fund, CARE International, the Natural Conservancy, and the International Union for Conservation of Nature. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, as I conclude, I wish to remind farmers' organizations not to forget or belittle your responsibility in providing a strong voice to the smallholder farmers, and especially by assisting them with capacity development that will bring about transformation in food systems. You have a major role in advocating for policy reforms on behalf of smallholder farmers and other actors along the agricultural value chains. I thank you very much for your kind attention.
Another round of applause for the Vice President, kindly. Thank you so much, sir, for sharing the amazing work that is happening in Tanzania and also for mentioning the place of the youth in this particular journey. We're here also with a very strong advocate of the agricultural sector, and he is also the chair of AGRF Partners Group. Ladies and gentlemen, the former Prime Minister of Ethiopia, His Excellency Haile Mariam Desalegn. Let's give him a round of applause as he comes to also address us today.
Your Excellency, Vice President of the Republic of Tanzania, Your Excellency, Commissioner for Economic Affairs and Agriculture, ECOWAS, the President, Pan-African Farmers Organization, PAFO, and the President, ROPA, the President, Eastern Africa Farmers Federation, EAFF, and the CEO of Southern African Confederation of Agricultural Unions, SACO, the CEO of Pan-African Farmers Organization, Your Excellencies, distinguished dignitaries, AGF partners and sponsors, ladies and gentlemen, all protocols observed. I am honored and privileged to be part of this special event and to welcome you all to this very special session. My sincere appreciation goes out to all of you for making time to join this session to engage and share views of farmers on their role in policy development and implementation and highlight the challenges they encounter in the process. It is imperative to note and acknowledge that farmers have been and will continue to be the heartbeat of the continent's economic evolution and transformation, especially post the COVID-19 pandemic. After all, farmers are magicians who produce money from the mud. However, most of the continent's poor are our farmers, and those who are not spend much of their income on food, but agricultural transformation the continent implies for them, creating jobs, raising farmers' income, reduce malnutrition, and kickstart industrialization. Distinguished dignitaries, before we engage further on the role of farmers in policy development and implementation and their challenge, I need to thankfully affirm that the economic recovery of the continent from COVID-19 pandemic, climate shocks, and conflict depends on successful agricultural transformation each of the continent's member states. This agricultural transformation should in earnest be based on focused on farming households, creation of opportunities for farmers to enhance their income. This implies increasing farm productivity or shifting the mix of production to include higher value crops and livestock. This will lead to creation of jobs, business opportunities, and increased demand for agricultural goods. The pertinent question is how to accelerate this transformation and scale up the growth. For this to happen, farmers need to be at the center of the policy interventions that are required by the governments and their partners. Farmers need to be part of the process of developing the solutions for the challenge they face. The policy intervention should be geared towards the following pivotal aspects: increasing investments towards production infrastructure, translate the food system's commitments to adoption and implementation, enhanced access to finance and market transparency, use employment and policy interventions in this regard, eliminate trade ban policies, de-risking the food systems, the adoption and the implementation of the African Continental Free Trade Area, implementation of open one-stop border posts, resilience of farmers to different crises, and capacity development of farmer organizations. Your Excellencies, distinguished dignitaries, ladies and gentlemen, we as farmers need to think differently. We ask farmers need to think differently and act urgently as the agricultural transformation doesn't warrant business as usual. Farmers have an enormous potential to drive the surge in industrialization in our countries and in the process enhance our dividends and standard of living. This special session today rekindles the need for farmers to be well organized, to speak in one emphatic voice, to influence the agricultural policy development and implementation in our respective countries. There is sufficient vigor and inspiration among us to ensure that we emerge out of the prevailing challenge triumphant. We need not rest on our laurels until the vision of agricultural transformation through inclusive and sustainable agri-food system is achieved. Your Excellencies and distinguished participants, we need to rally in one voice for our farmers. I sincerely thank you.
Very powerful message right there. And this definitely has set the mood and the tone for us for the next session. And things are just about to get even more interesting. We're about to have a panel that will be an up-close, personal, candid conversation that will be allowing us to have leaders' dialogue with African farmers. And so at this particular point, I would like to call on set my panelists that will be joining me for this particular conversation. And I'll start off with Ms. Masanje Ture, who's the Commissioner of Economic Affairs and Agriculture with the ECOWAS. Let's give her a round of applause as she joins us, if she's in the room already. All right, I see. Yeah, is she in? Okay. Let me call also the representative of the Network of Farmers and Producer Organizations in West Africa, and that is Ms. Diallo Dienaba, who will be joining us on the set. Let's give a round of applause. You can take the seat at the further left. Let me also bring on stage Ms. Elizabeth Nsimandala, the President, Eastern African Farmers Federation. Thank you very much. You can take the seat just at the farthest left. Allow me also to bring on set the representative of the Southern African Confederation of Agricultural Unions, and that is Ismail Sunga, who's the CEO of this organization. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Babafemi Oyewole, the CEO of Pan-African Farmers Organization. Let's give him a round of applause as he joins the set. And also joining us is Mr. Felix Kili, the climate positive farmer, coming all the way from Eldoret, Rift Valley in Kenya. Is he in the room or still celebrating? All right. Let's also have Ms. Hadi Sise. She's a young professional for agriculture development from the Gambia. And now, let me also introduce myself to join the panel. Thank you.
Thank you for that added pressure. So I will do my best to make sure that I represent the young people. For me, young people in agriculture, we do face a lot of challenges. To start with, in terms of support, sometimes we do get support that is geared towards, supporting the young people. But in most cases, there's an issue of accessibility because sometimes the requirements that are attached to support is almost impossible for young people to access. Say, for instance, if projects come up with grants, like agricultural grants, these are supposed, and for example, they spell out the beneficiaries are the young people. In most cases, they'll attach stuff like, collateral, because there's the banking component, for instance. So, and another thing is also with young people, we have the issue, aside from access to finance, we also have the issue of capacity. Agriculture is highly practical. Although recently we're seeing a lot of people that are graduating in the agriculture sector, but sometimes they do lack the practical skills. So all these things are things that, young people are faced with, which is kind of ensuring that, they are not thriving as they should in the agriculture sector. I don't think it's an issue of developing policies that are youth friendly, but ensuring that these policies are fully implemented. Because sometimes we do have a lot of policies, but in terms of implementation, it's partly wrong. Yeah, so I think as much as developing these policies are important, but also ensuring they're fully implemented.
No, not at all. I think that we are really trying to make farmers to become recognized as transformative agents in our society. But that is the mission of farmers, to ensure that farmers, themselves are taking into consideration at all levels of government, so that the policy and the needs of farmers will be taken into consideration when government is planning policy. And also, the right investment strategy made available to the farmers for cattle, we are also we know that this involvement in agriculture is very important, and that's why we are having different programs for the youth and also the women to make sure that we participate in the agricultural sector, so that we also use artificial intelligence and really so we have special programs to mobilize and to motivate youth to involve in.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Moderator, for that question. But with your indulgence, I request just for a minute to because as smallholder farmers, we were challenged by the Vice President of Tanzania on 3 issues. So I would like just to use a minute to attend to the issues that he challenged us on, and then I come back to respond to your question. And the 3 issues that he highlighted was that farmer organizations, 1, should be the voice of farmers. And number 2, that we should build the capacity of farmers' organizations and farmers to be able to offer services. And the 3rd one was our participation in the policy processes. So I want to start with the representation. And I would like to mention that as the Eastern Africa Farmers Federation, we are the voice of farmers in Eastern Africa and the Horn of Africa, including Tanzania. And just for purposes of his comfort, is to mention that we have membership in Tanzania, the 4 biggest organizations, the Agriculture Council of Tanzania, Tanzania Federation of Cooperatives, Multiwater, and Cooperative Union of Zanzibar. So we represent their voices at the regional level, continental level, and at global level. The second one was on capacity development. Capacity is our key thrust area, and our core mandate as a farmer organization is to make sure that we build the capacity of our member organizations to be able to offer sustainable services to their membership. Sustainable services in terms of building the support systems, because we are membership-based right from the grassroots up to the national and regional level and continental level, but also in terms of representation, being able to make sure that their voice comes up, are different for us. For example, we are signatories of farmers. We are signatories to the Cardiff Compact on behalf of farmers. We represent their voices at the Actesa Comesa board, at FARA board. Through the Pan-Africa Farmers Organizations, we represent their voices at the EU, at the Africa Union, and at the global level, and we've been part of the Food Systems Summit. The 3rd one is on policy. As an institution, we've been part and parcel of policy processes at different levels. Starting from the national level, we've supported our farmers' organizations to develop policies at subnational level, in terms of, for example, the district ordinances, at county level, at national level. We've supported some of our farmers to lead in the processes. For example, in Uganda, through New Cafe, they were able to lead on the coffee policy in Uganda. And then even at regional level, we have even participated and championed the process for a regional law on cooperatives, because we believe in regional integration. This should not only stop at political level, where we have the economic communities, where we have the African Union, but also in terms of working together as farmers' organizations, in terms of regional integration, in terms of building regional, building mergers. We came up with a regional law on cooperatives, and that is the East Africa Cooperative Societies Bill. Because as farmers, we believe that cooperatives are special purpose vehicles to transform the agriculture systems in Africa, given the subsistence nature of our agriculture. But to our surprise, there's limited political will from our political leaders. And on this, I would like to mention that, for example, that bill was passed in 2015, the EAC Cooperative Societies Bill. But since 2015, the bill was stuck in Tanzania. It has never been assented to by the heads of states. We did all the lobbying for all the other EAC states. But I'm happy that the Vice President is here today, and we are going to have a dialogue and see how we can, revive that discussion and have that bill assented to. Then back to your question on COVID-19 and its impact. Actually, I would like to mention that smallholder farmers, I think, are the shock absorbers for all the challenges in the agriculture sector. Not only the COVID-19, before it came in, we all understand how the sector had been affected. Actually, I would like to mention that smallholders are at the edge of social strife. When you look at the cyclones that happened in Southern Africa, you look at the fall armyworm, you look at the desert locusts, then came in COVID-19, and now the Russian-Ukraine crisis. All these challenges are affecting the smallholder farmer. But what are we doing as an institution, for example? We all know that currently the world is going digital. So as a federation, we embrace innovation and digitization. We have an e-granary platform, which is a virtual cooperative that aggregates farmers for markets. So we work from the market backwards to solve the challenges that farmers are faced along the entire value chain in terms of access to inputs, in terms of fertilizer and seed, services when you look at extension, mechanization, access to finance, access to insurance, and of course the biggest elephant in the room, which is the markets. Thank you.
Merci, monsieur le modérateur. Et en ce qui concerne les organisations paysannes de l'Afrique de l'Ouest, le réseau du repas est vraiment un réseau qui défend les intérêts des paysans. Et au niveau des politiques, nous avons réussi, le repas par des plaidoyers a réussi quand même à faire et prendre en compte les organisations paysannes au niveau de la participation pour l'élaboration des politiques. Donc, nous pouvons aujourd'hui dire que les gouvernements ne décident pas seuls, mais ils prennent en compte nos préoccupations avant de formuler leur politique. Maintenant, c'est au niveau de la mise en œuvre que le problème se pose. Et ce sont des expériences. Et le repas est très connu pour son plaidoyer au niveau de l'apport pour que les pays africains aient un marché commun pour les produits agricoles. Le problème des frontières sont un problème sur lequel nous nous battons pour que les produits agricoles puissent traverser les frontières sans problème pour permettre aux petits exploitants d'accéder au marché et d'évoluer sur le plan économique. Donc, nous avons également, sur le plan foncier, eu des acquis en ce qui concerne surtout les femmes. Et au niveau du réseau ROPA, il existe un espace femmes qu'on a appelé Collège des femmes et qui a porté le plaidoyer pour l'accès des femmes au foncier. Et dans certains pays, nous avons pu, au niveau des politiques, avoir également un appui pour être accompagnés auprès des coutumiers, parce que en Afrique de l'Ouest, c'est surtout les coutumiers qui décident de l'appropriation de la terre. Et donc, nous avons fait des plaidoyers auprès de ces coutumiers pour que les femmes puissent accéder à des terres. Mais le problème n'est pas seulement l'accès à la terre, il faut investir sur cette terre. Et donc, les femmes, on a continué le plaidoyer pour que ces femmes puissent avoir accès au financement pour la mise en valeur de ces terres-là. Donc, nous continuons toujours au niveau du réseau d'accompagner les femmes parce que vous savez que elles sont aujourd'hui, surtout en Afrique de l'Ouest, où nous sommes, vous n'avez pas parlé de la crise qui existe chez nous, qui est le problème du terrorisme, où les populations sont obligées de déplacer et aujourd'hui, c'est les femmes qui portent tout. Les hommes, soit ils ont été tués, soit ils sont partis, mais c'est les femmes qui portent tout aujourd'hui dans la région ouest africaine et il faut qu'elles se battent pour pouvoir assurer la survie de cette population.
Thank you, moderator. I just wonder whether farmers are indeed in addition. It's a bit questionable in my view. Otherwise, if we were, we should not be where we are now. Where we are now is a very bad state. State of affairs which is characterized by poverty, destitution, death of cities, death of infrastructure, being the holder of the highest risk, the lowest return, and yet others along the same, the risk profile of the cities, they get more and more. There's a lot of inequality within the chain itself. So our magic could go there. Then that magician is actually the magic. So yeah, it's a bit questionable that we are. But we could be, and we cannot do it alone as a magician. We just need to crowd in as much as possible to do this thing. The point of research and innovation, to me, is something that I have a mental problem with. Each time I speak to researchers, we always do being the voice of farmers that we stand our ground and provide evidence that we think is required. In the first instance, I think scientific evidence is not only source of evidence. There's farmers' voices as evidence. So the problem with research and innovation is it tends to be much more technical and scientific. And yet the problems and challenges that farmers face are not necessarily technical and scientific, technical or technological. They might be about markets. They may be about unfair distribution of value and risk along the chain. If research could focus in that direction, then we'll be onto a good thing. So there is a disconnection between research and innovation, in my view. So if you can't be more money into research and innovation and still have the same software, I don't think it's going to be. It's actually going to be worse. There's actually going to be much more polarization between researchers and farmers. That's the first one. The second point really is that there's a tendency to view farmers as not researchers in their own farmers. And therefore don't qualify to get all sorts of research support and funding. And people should really know that farmers have also do research. They don't do it in scientific, technical terms. And they don't do it for academic purpose. They don't get PhDs. If they were going to be given PhDs for their research, they would indeed get that. It's a piece of these researchers. Yeah, that scenario is much more about how the architecture of funding for research. If the research is for the farmer, normally it is the person who pays for the service, who determines which service needs to be done. But in this case, it is someone who is saying, I want to do research and listen to the crafting. And yet the crafting throughout yesterday and today, it is researching for farmers. It is researching to farmers about their problem. It is not about co-creation. It is not about researching with farmers, no. Because we've been relegated to subjects of research and not being part of the research chain, so to speak. And then the last point really, which is talking to your earlier questions around the new generation of farmers. That is so fundamental and critical. If research and innovation and development support could actually look at creative, innovative ways, policy or otherwise, of ensuring that we really market agriculture, not just agriculture, but as the largest passion of entrepreneurship. We should sell entrepreneurship to the young, not sell agriculture. Yes, you sell agriculture, you're selling problems. But you sell opportunities in there. So if you can have investment profile, that actually speaks to this, that there is money in playing around with money. You know that you are playing around with money. We need to change the narrative and change the way we communicate the opportunities and also provide the margin that is required to the international farmer. I think forums like this should be promoted, whereby the policymakers themselves are here to hear from the farmers about their needs, about their problems, and how they expect the government and the policymakers to respond to their aspirations. The disconnect that he was talking about is, I mean, when you want to do a research, you have to involve the people that you want to do the research on, so that they are the ones that are on ground, they are the ones that knows the challenges and the difficulties they are facing. But if you just commission a research and you go into the laboratory or you go into to do the research without involving the farmers, then that is what brings the disconnect that he was talking about. Now, coming to investment, yes, there are a lot of investment. I mean, government in their annual budget, the state, the amount of money that will go into the agricultural sector, and the question is, how are these funds being allocated and to who? Most of them are into these research organizations that are not having any positive impact on the actual farmers that are doing the work, producing the food. Yeah, that is what is generally the situation, and that means that the farmers, we are always asking that access to finance is a major issue. Like he said, for the youth that want to go into agriculture, to get that finance is not easy. And as we are talking here before this session, we see some policies within the bank, within the central bank, that inhibit these banks from financing agriculture because they perceive it as a risky venture. And what we are doing and what is being suggested is that we should now look at how to advocate for these measures, these policies, to either be reduced or to be removed altogether so that farmers can have more access to funding. And the president of FAFU also mentioned in his speech that there's need for African fund for agricultural development that will make the needed finance available to the farmers so that they can produce more. Because, like you said, there's nobody here in this moment now that has not eaten today. If you don't eat, there's no way we can be effective. That means that agriculture is very important. And the policy makers will understand that. We farmers, we understand that. That's why, despite all the challenges, despite all the difficulties, we continue to produce food as much as possible within our capacity.
Yes, thank you for that very important question. For me, for women to take a more central role in agriculture, there are measures that we need to put in place. For example, women need to be aware, they need to have information. So, especially rural women, because they form the bulk majority of smallholder farmers. And in order to do that, a starting point could be an awareness campaign where we would say conduct community outreach to ensure that the information is being disseminated across the community. Now, once they're aware of these opportunities, now it's time to provide technical support because agriculture is a business. So if we want these smallholder farmers to move from assistant farming to a more business-driven venture, we need to ensure that they organize, they formalize. Meaning, for example, they start business ventures that are not only operational but also registered. Now, once these are registered, we also need to support them technically by ensuring we cultivate business skills. Because one of the challenges we see with most of the smallholder farmers is they do not have basic business skills. And if you're to run agriculture as a business, there are certain, key skills, especially key management skills that need to be cultivated. Another thing also is training, the issue of training. So most of these smallholder farmers, they do have informal training. So a good starting point could be developing standards, training standards, developing policies, which would be used to train these, group of people to ensure that they equip with the right skills. Also, we need to utilize industries. We have a lot of pharma industries, processing industries, and so production processing industries. So we can also, offer on-the-job training or in-company training because most of agriculture is highly specialized. So once the women, the youth are absorbed in these industries, they will be equipped with the skills that are needed to ensure that their agricultural ventures will thrive. And to do that, it will be a good thing to be guided with curriculum, standards to ensure whatever they do train, the output will be good quality products and produce that is highly significant. I think that would cover, and what is very important thing, I mentioned access to finance. Training without financial support, you will get the desired result. So it is also important to come up with programs that will provide static support in the form of packages to ensure that they're equipped with the necessary input, the necessary financial support to ensure that their businesses are operational, fully operational. We're looking at ways to ensure that they work together, to collaborate. Because one thing about smallholder farmers is, as individual farmers, they will time and food. But through organized bodies like cooperatives, associations, it also makes it easier for them to attract support. So I think for women, the opportunities are there. They just need to be aware of these opportunities.
Thank you. Thank you. My name is Grace Musimami, and I'm the Secretary General for Uganda Forum for Agriculture Advisory Services, an association for extension actors in Uganda. My question goes to all panelists. I've been hearing you talking about the disconnect between research and the farmer. What is the linkage and the role of extension in ensuring that successful farm organization? Because I know many people have been funding farm organizations, but still the disconnect, there is a tendency to forget about extension as a key issue where governments are not recruiting extension workers, and the farmers depend on, I think, Google now to be able to get any information. What is your take on extension at farmer level? Thank you.
Usually we're raising an over and teaching but then we feel the person who raised the issue of disconnection. I think the reliance on public provisioning of essential services, in my view, is not going to be realistic. We know that most of our governments don't have those resources anyway to cover as many people as possible. So we need to be creative and innovative about what other options there are to try and deal with that problem. It's very clear that agriculture has become so complex, it's so fast-changing. It's data-driven, it's science-based, it's now global, you name it. So it now requires a different kind of farmer who has the capability of interpreting information. It's no longer in the hand, it's now in the head. So Google is one option. There could be other options, but my call is that let's not, in my view, rely on something that turn out to be high in the air, big sky. because our governments don't have the resources. But the resources should be how do you creatively work with the private sector? How do you creatively work with the farmers' organizations themselves? And how do you creatively work with other value chain actors to provide the kind of information intelligence that is required? But at the end of the day, it is about the appetite of the farmers to search for information that is going to enhance their business function. And one needs to be very careful. We always ban farmers to be one homogeneous category. There are those, the majority who farm to eat, and there are those that actually sell everything they farm, and they do so deliberately. So the solutions to extension is going to be differentiated depending on the type of farm we're talking about. Yes. There's no silver bullet, yes. So a more integrated solution. And only, it's not very, in my view, very good to provide farmers an extension to do with agriculture when most of the farmers are a complete being whose needs go much more beyond agriculture. So it has to be a package that has to be integrated, that speaks to their social requirements, their economic requirements, their agricultural requirements. But as you become more and more market-oriented and produce much everything, sell everything you produce, maybe it's a different type of extension and information knowledge management that is required.
I would like to add on Ishmael's submission, and yes, I agree with Grace that extension is a big challenge, and we come from the same country. If we can give Uganda as an example, our extension ratio is 1 to over 1,500 households. So you can imagine if one extension worker is to give support services to 1,500 households, how much time does this extension worker need? It might take this person a whole year without even visiting all these households. But the biggest challenge has also been that we've all been working in silos. For example, the extension has been on their own, the research has been on their own, and the farmers have also been working on their own. So I think it's time now to connect those dots and make sure that we build an ecosystem where we can all sit together and talk, speak the same language so that we can leverage on the opportunities that exist within different organizations. I'll give you an example that, for example, as the Federation, we're doing e-extension through our mobile platform where we are able to offer extension messages to our farmers. We also have put resources in building a call center where our farmers can report issues from the field and call to the call center, and an agronomist responds to their issues. And since we already have this infrastructure in place, I think, for example, working together with UFAS or AFAS or other organizations that are in extension would be an opportunity so that they don't have to reinvent the wheel. I also know that they've developed a number of materials, extension materials, for example, and as farmers' organizations, tapping into that opportunity of using their extension materials would also be an opportunity for us, and that would be the importance of creating those ecosystems that are built on mutual benefits so that every actor in the ecosystem benefits from the other.
Merci, je voulais un peu ajouter sur ce problème de rapport entre paysans et recherche. À notre niveau, nous avons une certaine expérience parce que nous avons décidé de travailler puisqu'il y a un vide et que l'État ne peut pas gérer ça. Donc les paysans, les OP se sont organisés pour faire des rencontres avec les chercheurs. Donc on a périodiquement rencontre OP chercheurs et nous avons demandé à certains de faire leurs expériences au niveau des petites exploitations familiales. Et donc nous avons cette expérience qui se poursuit depuis quelques années et vraiment nous avons des résultats palpables pour certaines exploitations. Et donc, nous sommes en train de continuer cette expérience. Donc, si l'État ne peut pas, les organisations paysannes, elles prennent sur elles-mêmes de rencontrer les chercheurs et de travailler avec eux. Donc, on a établi un partenariat avec les chercheurs. Merci.
Merci beaucoup, monsieur le modérateur. Moi, je suis Kantarama Césari. Je suis agricultrice et présidente d'un syndicat rwandais des producteurs agricoles. Pour moi, ce n'est pas une question, mais c'est plutôt un petit ajout. Bien que nos représentants en ont beaucoup dit, permettez-moi d'abord d'adresser nos sincères remerciements aux organisateurs de ce forum, étant un espace d'échange et de formulation de stratégies. Bien que le processus sur le système alimentaire nous a accordé une place importante, mais en tant que petits agriculteurs, de notre part, nous nous sommes engagés à être actifs et responsables dans ce processus. Cependant, nous avons quelques suggestions en tant que des acteurs incontournables. Premièrement, pour pouvoir réduire les inégalités de partage des moyens qui existent, comme les panélistes en ont parlé, donc nous souhaitons que nous soyons plus impliqués au niveau national, pas seulement dans la formulation des programmes, mais aussi dans l'exécution, même du budget et de l'évaluation de l'impact. Nous souhaitons aussi la mise en place des mécanismes d'accès aux facteurs de production, notamment le financement agricole adapté qui va jusqu'au niveau de la ferme. Parce que c'est au niveau de la ferme où on observe la première étape des résultats escomptés. Deuxièmement, bien sûr, en considérant la spécificité de chaque pays, car pas de type identique est prêt à porter par tous. Deuxièmement, les femmes sont actrices au premier plan dans le secteur agricole avec une grande proportion dans l'agriculture. Elles sont présentes d'un bout à l'autre de la chaîne de valeur. Les faits montrent que dans les économies où l'on trouve une plus grande égalité entre les sexes, tant au plan des possibilités que celui des bénéfices, non seulement la croissance économique, mais aussi la qualité de vie sont supérieures. De ce fait, nous demandons que ce processus sur le système alimentaire mette un accent particulier sur la place de la femme. Je vous remercie.
Yeah, thanks a lot. I think the issues raised by Africa is very pertinent, very, very pertinent. And that is what we have been also discussing here. And one of the mission of FAFO as a regional organization is to be the voice of the farmers in Africa. So I said that is one of our roles, which we are evolving, which we are, and I think, like Elizabeth said, that they were able to bring up a bill, which is part of the advocacy process, so that the bill is to enhance the operations of the amendment. So I believe that it's very important that the farmers are involved in policy making so that they will understand the needs of the farmers and factor them into the policy. And at the continental level, PAFO, recently the president of PAFO visited African Union Commission, and one of the requests is that PAFO to be involved in the meetings of the head of government in Africa, so that we can be able to articulate the needs of the farmers, and so that when they are making their policy, they will consider those needs and make policies that are appropriate to the situations and the conditions of farmers, not a theory or just making policies for making issues. Yes, so those are the things that we are trying to do.
I think both sides are working the ball. The farmers are equally to play. In my view, we are not aggressive enough to put together, put forward our own proposals. And so let's negotiate. We are always reacting to proposals we could do that are coming from the other side. Because of better organization, better intelligence, and better packaging of that which we want to negotiate. Because it is programs that are brought to us. And sometimes we ship those programs from the youth. But let's also say this is ABC, we think that the policy proposal for consideration. Because no one invites you if you don't go there yourself. I mean, I think we are guilty of wanting to be invited. We should be much more effective to go there because it is in our interest. So it is also a mind shift from our side that we need to really inculcate in ourselves. And also policy making is farmers and farmers organizations. Our core business is not necessarily, and policy making is a protracted process that requires deep focus. And most of those that are involved in it from the other side, they deep focus. You are there for a long time discussing climate change from COP1 to COP800, and they're still going. And so there is really need for us to have the capacity and staying power to work all the way, but we are both today. But there are other creative ways of actually doing it. I mean, the digital ways and the social media and all that is a way of aggregating ideas and presenting the truth. This is the change that is required. And all the issues can happen to my core being that this is a core for research. But how can we creatively harness that which we have to bring to bear with this issue, for instance, of citizen voices making their way to influence and change? It does not necessarily have to be a farmer. It can be a virtual farmers organization that is organizing for change. We just have to be a bit more creative around that. And we are not yet, started, but at least we are moving from conscious and unconscious ignorance to conscious ignorance. Then we are going to make that.
Oui, merci. Je voulais revenir sur ce qu'il a dit, effectivement, que les femmes, c'est elles qui doivent faire leur propre plaidoyer pour occuper la place qu'il est leur. Dans l'agriculture, elles ont un rôle important qu'elles jouent. Et donc, pour pouvoir se faire prendre en compte, il faut aller vers les décideurs. Et nous, qu'est-ce que nous avons trouvé comme solution? C'est de dire que, vous savez que généralement dans nos pays, ce sont les femmes qui votent plus. Et donc nous avons dit, voilà, on va vers les candidats, on vous dit, voilà, nous les femmes rurales, on ne vote plus quelqu'un qui ne prend pas en compte les mesures que nous vous dictons. Et on vous fait signer avant les élections. Nous avons fait cette expérience 2 fois dans notre pays. Et après, celui qui sera élu, nous allons faire le compte, nous le rencontrons pour dire, voilà, vous aviez promis aux femmes, vous aviez promis des crédits, Vous aviez promis de nous accompagner pour avoir la terre. Vous aviez promis au lieu de donner les intrants pour tous les agriculteurs, nous voulions que ça soit des intrants spécifiques pour les femmes et une technologie pour les femmes. Et donc, nous faisons le bilan avec ces responsables-là et nous savons qu'est-ce qui a été pris en compte et qu'est-ce qui n'a pas été pris en compte et nous recommençons le plaidoyer. Donc, c'est effectivement les femmes rurales qui doivent se lever et aller vers les politiques parce qu'eux, ils ne vont pas venir vers nous. C'est nous qui devons aller et dire voilà nos préoccupations, voilà ce dont nous avons besoin et voilà sur quelle base nous allons partir avec vous. Et je crois que ça peut être une expérience qui peut être multipliée par les femmes en Afrique. Donc, c'est ce que je voulais dire.
I think my colleague mentioned something about digital systems. So I think also it's important to emphasize the role of ICT systems, not just automatically, but also to ensure simultaneous for all the time. Because most of the time, the parents of the parents is making sure that they are paid on time, right? Especially when they work with the exporters, when they work with the private sector, or the middlemen that are forging the equipment. So ICT is very important in African agriculture. Recently, we've seen the growth in mobile money. So that particular tool is improved on could be a very good solution to ensure that the financial aspect or challenges regarding the payment system is solved.
If I can add something, I think I would say that every actor in the food system has weaknesses. But I think we've also done a lot of talking with less actions. And also this character of blame game. All the challenges in the agriculture sector are actually mostly blamed to the farmers. And the blame comes from all the actors across the entire value chain. But let me pick up a few, starting with government. Most often, our governments don't actually invite us to even dialogue at national level and all these other levels. We have to fight for that space. But I'm happy that lately there has been that recognition of the voices of farmers at different levels, and I want to acknowledge that. But secondly, for us to be able to support our farmers or transform the agriculture sector, we need support. Support in terms of capacity development, but also in terms of financing. But this support is not coming. I will challenge any government in this audience which is giving direct funding to any farmer organization at national level or regional level. If you're here in the audience and you can confirm that you are giving direct funding to farmer organization, you can raise your hand and we'll give you a round of applause. It's not there. Direct funding. I say direct funding, not through projects, but for example, support, like the secretariat support. Maybe you're paying salaries, you're paying rent for your farmers' organization, secretariat and all that. It's not there. Or maybe one or two. Okay. It's not happening because our governments are also struggling. Some of our governments don't even know the number of digits for their foreign debt. But you see, the problem is that farmers are a part of the system that is supposed to repay these debts, but this money is not even coming to us. We all understand that the entire food system is broken, and who is the solution to make sure that this system works? It is the farmer. We are the ones who have the solutions. When we were hit by COVID, how many of our governments or how many of the partners came up to support the agriculture sector. I can applaud IFAD. I think it is one of the development partners that gave us support, recovery support as a farmer organization, and a few others. World Bank, through the GASP program, they also gave us that kind of support. But our governments were watching, and they could not even give us support. Come again? No, it's not sugarcoating, but I think they also need to recognize us as important actors in the food systems. We know they are struggling, but the little they have, they should also share it with the farmers, because we are the ones that are going to make change happen in our agriculture systems. We are the ones that are feeding the population. We are the ones that are going through a lot. It takes a farmer 4 years to raise a cow, but it takes a chef 30 minutes to prepare a grill, and it takes you less than 30 minutes to eat that meal. So you can imagine what a farmer goes through to make sure that you have food on the table. And that is the recognition that we want from everyone, so that everyone is ready to give food its true value. You're demanding a lot from the farmers to make sure that we give you nutritious food, we give you healthy diets, but you're not ready to pay for that food. Giving it its true value is important.
Ok, merci beaucoup. Je m'appelle Butoto, je viens de la RDC Congo, voisin du Rwanda. Et je voudrais seulement donner une petite contribution parce que nous sommes dans des pays qui sont totalement différents. D'autant plus que, par exemple, il y a un grand problème d'enclavement des petits exploitants, parce que dans beaucoup de milieux ruraux, il y a un enclavement. Alors, cela limite, par exemple, la production en quantité, en qualité, d'autant plus que les produits sont transportés, par exemple, sur la tête, au lieu que ça soit transporté par véhicule ou d'autres moyens de locomotion. Ça, c'est la première préoccupation. Dans ces parties de la région aussi, vous trouvez qu'il y a des problèmes aussi, c'est pas les problèmes de sécurité ne se posent pas seulement en Ukraine, mais aussi ça se pose aussi dans certains pays africains où il y a encore l'insécurité, qui limite aussi la production en quantité et en qualité, qui va permettre à ce qu'au moins la production arrive sur le marché, bien que ces parties de la région aussi sont limitées de pouvoir avoir accès à des ressources financières pour pouvoir payer par exemple les intrants agricoles, afin de pouvoir les disponibiliser par exemple aux petits exploitants, notamment les jeunes ou bien par exemple les femmes. Le dernier élément, je pense que surtout le problème aussi de l'emploi des jeunes. C'est pas seulement d'avoir par exemple les jeunes qui s'intéressent par exemple à l'agriculture. Comment les jeunes doivent s'intéresser à l'agriculture au moment où il n'y a pas d'accès à des routes, il n'y a pas de routes. C'est pour cette raison, nous donnons une recommandation à nos gouvernements de pouvoir ouvrir l'accès à des routes et de pouvoir faire des infrastructures qui doivent pouvoir donner l'accès à des petits exploitants, donner l'accès à des milieux ruraux pour que au moins les petits exploitants puissent produire, puissent produire en quantité, en qualité, et aussi de pouvoir les écouler facilement sur le marché d'emploi. Je dis et je vous remercie.
We really commend the farmers because they have manifesting a very resilient attitude to all the challenges. And that is why, in terms of climate change, we are trying to see how we can mobilize the needed resources to assist them. And we, like has been said here, there are new technologies that are emerging that will support them in weather forecasting and some other soil health management innovations that are coming in. And what the farmers need to do, or the farmers organization, is to push information to all these farmers through their representatives at the local, national, and regional and continental level, so that they will be able to know how to adapt or mitigate the effects of these climate change issues that are coming to reduce their production. So that is the kind of thing that we think we can do. Yes, yes. Actually, that is one of the main issues that the farmers organization has. Yes, the issue is accreditation. You must have accreditation to be able to access those, and the accreditation process is so long. It takes a long process. And I was talking to one of the bankers who said they are the only bank in the whole of East Africa that is accredited to give climate finance. And you can imagine only one bank in the whole of the region. So the accreditation process is very long, and that is what we are advocating for, that there should be a review of those other process so that more farmers will be able to access the climate finance fund.
Je peux adresser ma question aux politiciens, aux politiques. Parce que si nous avons besoin d'investissement, c'est eux qui doivent nous accompagner au niveau des banques. Parce que les banques n'accordent pas des crédits aux petits exploitants. Ou s'ils donnent ces crédits, c'est à des taux que l'exploitant ne peut pas supporter. Et à des délais aussi qu'il ne peut pas supporter. Comme elle le disait tout de suite, si vous voulez payer une vache, on vous donne un crédit et on vous dit de payer en 6 mois. Pendant ce temps, la vache, vous ne l'avez même pas gérée d'abord. Donc, ils n'ont qu'à nous accompagner pour avoir un crédit adapté à nos besoins de petits exploitants. C'est très important aujourd'hui parce que aujourd'hui on ne peut rien faire sans économie. Et si vous n'avez pas ces crédits, vous ne pouvez pas travailler à long terme pour valoriser votre agriculture.
Yeah, I think first of all, we need to acknowledge the importance of building holistic and mutual partnerships that are benefiting to every actor, so that we can all work together and leverage on the opportunities that exist in every institution. The second one is on data. I think we need to acknowledge the importance of data and understand that data is a king. Quite often, the decisions that we make are not informed by data. So we need that to make sure to inform our decision, be it by government, be it by us as farmers, to understand what to plant, for example, when to plant and where to plant, and all that. Then the last one is on policy, political will. We need political will from the government and from all the actors You've seen most often taxes being introduced, for example. We need to see that whatever tax that is going to be introduced that affects farmers are consulted and are part of that process. And lastly, we need to have agriculture safety nets in terms of subsidies for the agriculture sector. Thank you.
Just about three things. One, talking to the farmers themselves. But I think we need to have a bit more aggression, more higher levels of ambition. We seem to be wanting to remain small. And I might be reading it wrongly, but I think the responsibility is upon us to really determine our own destination on the farm and the farmers' organizations, and not really look for outside. Number two is speaking to the public sector. Without backbone infrastructure out there in the rural areas, in terms of water, sanitation, water facilities, education, we really can't expect much of innovation happening there. So a public investment in backbone infrastructure, including digital infrastructure is so fundamental and critical. We talk about transformation at scale all we want, but without that platform, it's impossible. Then I want to speak to the private sector. We need really to be honest and transparent and fair in our engagement. Quite often, we get a sense that the bigger guys in the agribusiness take quite a bit of the value and very low of the risk, and yet on the primary production side is the other way around. We need a game of that is based on principles of fairness and equity, transparency and accountability, so that we have a fair distribution of what it is under the case. This is my call. And there could be platforms, and there are platforms that we can negotiate better than that, based on principles that are ethical and that are also ensuring human dignity about people at the end of the day. Yes.
Thank you very much. I think as the farmers organizations also we need, and farmers generally, we need to speak as one voice. Make our needs, articulate them very well, and so that you can be a force to be reckoned by the policy maker. And also, like the former Prime Minister of Uganda, we need to think differently in the way we approach issues. And also, we need to make sure that we get ourselves involved in policy making so that we'll be able to influence policies that will be beneficial to the farmers.
Very energetic. They're also very innovative and they're creative. It's high time the agriculture sector leverages energy. Also, we have to look at ways to improve mechanization and also make this accessible to young people. Because agriculture with hard work, it's quite labor intensive. So that will drive us, the young people. Also, we look at digitalization. Digitalization creates a lot of opportunities, especially for young people to tap their innovativeness and so on and so forth. Also, we need to ensure that there's value chain support. Agriculture is not just about farming. We have so many different activities along the value chain, like processing, service delivery, marketing, and so on and so forth. So we also need to ensure all these things are accessible by young people, and also they take a very active role in these different activities. And finally, we need to come up with policies that will make agriculture attractive for young people. And not only to attract them, but to ensure that they stay in the sector to help in the development and transformation of the agricultural sector. Thank you. Yes, attractive would mean, like I said at the start, agriculture is a business. We need to see it as a livelihood. Venture that they can get into to get income that will sustain themselves. Otherwise, they'll rather go work in banks or be lawyers or doctors and so on and so forth. It needs to be attractive to ensure that they can get livelihood out of it and also have status. Because gone are the days that, agriculture is only associated with, the old man or the old woman, it is at the farm level. So you see people in suits, you see people in fancy stuff that are, highly engaged in agriculture and are very active in it. And young professionals in agriculture.
Yes, good evening, good afternoon. My name is Stephen Mushiri from the Eastern Africa Farmers Federation. I'm the Chief Executive Officer, standing in for our good doctor from Agra. And it's a bit of an ambush, but I think I'm actually ready for this. I think we want to thank the panelists. I think it's been a good session. Let's give them another round of applause. I want to thank the panelists. I want to thank the moderator for a very interesting conversation. It's actually very clear that agriculture and more so farmers have actually bore the brunt of so many challenges in the last couple of years. And I think that it's clear that both the farmers and policymakers have a huge role in driving policy in this region. Let us, as farmers, and I think many panelists have actually said this, let us take the initiative to engage in policy and informing or engaging research. Let the policymakers also support us, support our cause. It's very frustrating, like President Elizabeth said, when policy is made without hindsight on the impact on the sector, as has been in many cases. I think a lot of studies have shown that policy has not informed investment in as far as agriculture is concerned in Africa. Let the young people and women be more involved. Let's sell agriculture as an enterprise that is a livelihood. And I think our representative of the youth has actually made emphasis on that. Otherwise, the magic of making food from mud will continue to remain a mirage. I want to thank the audience for participating in this session. And I think I want to take it up with the organizers for the next steps. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.